moving on. So look, the Swamp is going to be busy this summer. It's going to be extremely busy. I've got a lot of names that we're going to ruffle through here for a minute, just to kind of give you we like to have a weekly update of who's visiting, what's happening, what's going down, and then I'm going to give you my most exciting one that's cool for us to have. Right now we've got Rico Walker. He has us in his top 11, which I thought was a little weird. 4-star edge. We've got Parker Jenkins, 3-star running back. Richard Young, 5-star running back. He's already visited Florida. Great stuff there. 5-star QB, Jaden Rashada. 5-star out of Pittsburgh. He also went to IMG. Okay? Went to IMG, then he went to Pittsburgh. He's from Cali, though. He has 7 schools. He's down to his 7. Ole Miss being one of those schools. It's like Ole Miss, Oregon. I've got him right here. LSU, Oregon, Florida, Ole Miss, Miami, California, and A&M. So that is a heavy school. Those are some big names that Florida's up against. He's going to announce his commitment date on June 18th, so we'll keep our eyes out for that one. That one's going to be a big one. That one's going to be an exciting one to see where he goes. That also, too, with LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida being in the mix, could have a play where Arch goes. So if Florida doesn't get him, I would prefer him to go to LSU and Ole Miss to kind of eliminate those schools for Arch. So
makes sense. Yep.
We'll see on that one. The next one, we have a 4-star wide receiver, Jonte Cook, and then the Arizona State wide receiver, Rick Pearson, has been making some noise, and there's a little bit of noise coming out that he might be coming to Florida, which would be huge for AR-15. Right? Again, this is where the portal will be a huge factor for us. So that's really exciting. That, to me, is one of the ones over the 5-star Jaden coming in. That would be my most exciting one to look out for, because that's going to be an immediate impact, right? All these other ones I just mentioned are going to be long-term. And then we have all in one day, on June 3rd, official visit. Jonte Cook, the second, which I just mentioned. Anthony James, 4-star defensive lineman. Trayon Webb, who's been a heavy contender. We've talked about him. He's visiting. I want to say again, I'm pretty sure he's already been there. 4-star running back, 4-star linebacker, Raul Aguayo, 4-star linebacker, Jordan Hall, 4-star safety, Jordan Castle, 3-star offensive lineman, Connor Stroud, and Bryce Lovertt is also visiting, all on the same day, June 3rd. So it is going to be a packed house in there in the Swamp. And again, getting all these kids together to see kind of what the future is going to be like. And if you realize what I just read there, there's nobody except the 2 offensive linemen, but both those guys can go. It's all over the place, right? Wide receiver, defensive lineman, running back, linebackers, safeties, right? Hey, we're building a squad. Let's do this together. And we talked about that early on. He was doing that early on in the recruiting process too. When we talked about it early January, and it seems like we're doing that again. So I'm loving it. It's good stuff.
I do like the fact that he's bringing out large groups of kids at one time. Like it doesn't feel like it's just 1 or 2 kids where they're just putting all the emphasis on them.
Bringing them buses.
Yes, that's what I mean. And you get these kids together and you get them excited about something. And then when they reside back to, the hotels, or when they're, they start communicating after the trip, it just starts to build a little bit more momentum. I mean, I've seen different sides of the recruiting process where you bring in 1 or 2 or 3 kids and you just hyper focus on them. It just doesn't feel like it has the same momentum factor as if you're just bringing in a massive group of kids. Now, look, it's hard to bring that many kids in and give them all the A+ treatment that you want them to have, so that
Sure.
they all walk away feeling the same. But that's the hard part. But if you can do it and you can do it right, the momentum that you take away from a visit weekend that big can be huge. Now, at the same time, I remember Willie Taggart completely bombing a few of those, and it was exactly the opposite. So it has both sides.
How did he bomb it?
It was unorganized. There were recruits that had parents that didn't have the position coach where they were supposed to be, that didn't have the coach that was recruiting the kid that was supposed to be there. It was just discombobulated. It was, different kids were showing up at different times for the dinners and things like that when they were all supposed to be there at the same time. It was typical Willie Taggart in all of his glory, and everything that looked like what was happening on the football field was happening off the football field. So, but that's the kind of thing. I mean, you got to balance. That's a big balance. I mean, you've only got so many coaches. You do have your off the field coaching staff and support staff that can really help out in those scenarios. But again, you're talking about a high level organization in order to bring that many kids in, to make sure they all get the attention and to make sure that they all feel like each one of them is, the recruit that has to be there in order for the team to be successful. So hats off to Billy, man. He's doing a great job so far and pulling that off.
And when we talked to Connor, I mean, he mentioned like the organization of the recruiting, how they come in. It's just much more organized than before. So they've done this before. I think they've got that dialed in. But yeah, it's definitely something that could get a little messy very quickly as well. Real quick, Fish and Football said Richard Young is a freak, dude. He is a freak. The kid's 6 foot, 205 pounds. And right now his top interests are Florida, Bama, and he's got a few others. But yeah, he. I mean, look, if you think about it, it's like the Mark Ingram. He's not quite as big as a Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry 6'3", 250, but he kind of puts on some more juice. The kid,
that's quite the comparison,
big, bro. Yeah, the kid's big. I know. He's not the next Derrick Henry, but I'm talking about this physical freak, like his size, his stature, right? Like he's just a big kid, right? Big dude. He's 205 in every bit of it. But
Zach Whitfield for Rick Nixon. No, we don't believe that there's a tape on him. However, I did hear the name Aguayo pop up there with a name that started with first name that started with an R. And there's only been about 14 of those kids that came through FSU. So I wonder if you're trying to snake our kicking family from us.
Notre Dame's on Richard Young's top interest, as well as A&M, and he just did his official visit. So look, there's a lot of schools looking at this kid. Georgia's on this list as well. He's from Florida, so we'll see. Right now, Georgia, Notre Dame, and Florida and Bama all have medium, and Ohio State all have medium interest. So he's been to Florida 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times though. He's visited them 5 times. So I mean, that's good.
Point, but now again, you don't even need an escort. Like you just you just roll up and you're like, nah, I know where everything is. Just I got it. Like I'm just gonna go over here and
yeah, 5 times. That's huge.